Hi everybody, welcome to Stamping with Melva. I'm Melva Peters and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in British Columbia, Canada, and you can find me online at stampingwithmelva.com. I wanted to show you today how I made this fun card featuring the Little Dreamers bundle from Stampin' Up! The paper is actually from Bright and Beautiful, and I just love this. It's a bit of a fancy fold, and I got the inspiration from a card that Lisa Curcio shared. And so thank you very much. I kind of changed it up a little bit and to make it not, well, I changed it up to attach the two layers together. So I'll show you that when I show the card. But the inspiration came from a card that Lisa Curcio shared. All right, let me switch over to my desktop and we'll get started. Okay, so this is the card. Isn't it cute? First of all, this is the Little Dreamers bundle. So it's so cute for little ones. I'm using this little lion, but it's got an elephant and a cow and a little squirrel and stars, and it's just so cute. And then of course there are dies that cut out the stamps, and then you've got some extra ones, some clouds and a moon, some stars, and then one this would probably, I haven't used this one yet, probably cut some little star openings in your cardstock. Okay, so this is the card. So it's a bit of a fancy fold in that it's got a second kind of layer to it on the inside. Where I said I changed it a little bit is I've attached this second layer to the front of the card. You don't have to do that. Lisa's card actually had the two layers separately, but I wanted to just combine the two. Uses a little less DSP the way I've done it, and I kind of like the single layer, but you can kind of change it, and I'll show you how to do that if you want to do that. Okay, so let's get started and make the card. So here's my supplies. I may have missed a piece of basic white cardstock that I'm gonna quickly grab some basic. Oh, here's some basic white. There we go. Missed a piece of basic white. Okay, so your card base for this one is going to be 4 1/4. Just got to remember 4 1/4 by 8 1/4. You're basically cutting 2 3/4 off, but you're going to score it at 5 1/2. All right. So that's your card base. So this will fold like that. And then you have another piece. This is Lemon Lolly that I'm using. Another piece that is cut 3 1/4 by 10, and we will score that at 5 inches. So these are the two main pieces that form your card base. And then I can put my trimmer away. Okay, so as always, grab your bone folder. So this is folded into the mountain or the raised line, and give your cardstock a good burnish on that fold. And the same with this piece. This is this side. This is the raised line. So fold this in and give it a good burnish. Okay, so Lisa's card actually had this flipped open. There was another piece on here, and then this flipped open. So I've just kind of conserved a little bit of cardstock, and I wanted to attach these together so that it opened in one piece. Just a little bit of a modification to it. But if you wanted to, you could put these layers on, not glue this second small piece to this top flap, and then put another layer over top of it. But that's not what I did. All right. So I've got a piece. Again, this is the paper that comes, the designer series paper that's part of the Bright and Beautiful. So I've cut a piece that is the Lemon Lolly stripes. That is 4 by 5 1/4. And we're going to adhere this to what is typically the inside of the card. So this will be our background. Okay. And then I've got another piece that will go here on the front. That is, let's see, 2 1/2, pretty sure, 2 1/2 by 4. And this will go on the top of our front flap. Okay, now the way that I put this in place is this piece will fit, and I basically pushed it up against the score line of the card. So we're going to adhere this piece on now. You can use tear and tape adhesive if you want. I'm just using liquid glue. So this is going to go up against that score line and kind of even side to side like that. And then you can just press it down and hold it until it sticks in place. And then this piece, if you're going to adhere it like I did, let's hold off on that because I'm going to put another piece. Where did my other piece of designer series paper go? Here it is. So you want to put a piece of designer series paper on here. Now I cut this one because it's going to tuck underneath. I cut this one 3 inches by 3 inches. And it's just going to adhere right to that front, and the top of it will be hidden underneath the flap once we adhere it down. There we go, like that. And then now you can take and adhere that front flap down, just making sure you only get the adhesive where it's going to go onto this piece. So I've kind of gone in an inch, making sure I don't get adhesive on outside of what is 3 1/4 inches. So now my card opens like this. Okay, on to decorating. So in this one, I stamped, which is what I'm going to do. I stamped on a piece of basic white cardstock. There we go, piece of basic white cardstock. I'm using Tuxedo Black Memento because I'm going to do some coloring with my blends. So always use the Memento ink because the blends will bleed through, and this one works best. Okay, and then while I have my Tuxedo Black open, I'm going to stamp the sentiment. I just cut this out. You could punch it out. But I just stamped it out or fussy cut it once I had it stamped. Okay, and then I do need a piece for the inside of the card, but I will do that in a minute. Okay, so I colored my image using pecan pie and lemon lolly for the star. So when I color with blends, now this is going to take me a little bit, but it doesn't take too long. I always go over the entire image with the light color, the light of the two, the lightest of the two, whichever colors you're using. You don't always have to use the same 2 colors. So it doesn't always have to be light and dark. For example, pecan pie, you could use, light of pecan pie and dark of copper clay, or even 2 light colors to blend. But whatever 2 colors you're blending, I always go over the entire image using the lightest of the 2. I find that just gives it a bit of a base layer, and it makes it a little easier to blend my colors. So now I can go back in and do some blending or put some dark in. I'm just gonna, so in this card I actually just colored. I'm going to just go around the center with that. I'm going to do his tail, and then I am going to do his mane on his head. I guess this is probably his mane too, around his chin. So let's do those. I often, when I'm doing this, I often just use the concept artist lines, because they put the lines in for a reason, and so I don't really have to think about where there might be shadows. I can actually just use their ideas and their lines to figure out where I want to just do some extra. Now I'm just going over this. I find that I just kind of go over the whole thing, just kind of blends out a little bit of the obvious line. And then you've got your, oops, there we go. Kind of frozen. There we go. All right. So we've got our lion, and now I'm just gonna color my star. This is the light lemon lolly. I'm going to actually, I think on my card I used the dark, but I'm going to keep it a light on this one. I'm not going to do any blending because I actually covered this, and I don't know if you can see it, maybe a little bit. I colored it in Wink of Stella, so it's going to be covered up anyway, and so there's no point in blending it. Okay, so I'm using a little bit of Post-it note tape just to keep my lion die in place. Bring in my little mini machine because this piece of paper is perfect size for that. Going the right way. So I've got my plates. Now the other thing I want to cut out while I have my see if I can do this. My mini machine out is, this is the More Dazzle specialty paper, and I want to cut out 3 little stars. So let's see if I can kind of tuck this and cut those stars out. I think I have room. There we go. Oopsie. I think I have room. All right, so let's put the plate on to start with. Hold that in place. And there we go. I think that's going to cut. I'm trying to make sure I've got this on the More Dazzle paper. There we go. All right, so then we can run this through, and hopefully we'll cut out our lion plus these 3 little stars from the More Dazzle. Now I love this paper when we had it as a celebration. It's just so pretty, and what could be more perfect for little stars is this very dazzly, shiny paper. Okay, I think I've got everything. Take our lion off its die. There we go. Isn't he cute? Oh my gosh. Okay. All right, and then the other thing I might as well do while I have this piece of paper and I don't lose it is I'm just going to take and cut. As I said, you could punch your sentiment out. You could die cut it. If you follow me, you know that I typically will fussy cut. There we go. Okay, so let's start putting our card together. It's pretty simple from this point on. So we're going to use dimensionals. So I've got a fairly big sentiment. I always stagger my dimensionals, kind of one up, one down, and that way it doesn't, first of all, one in the middle always, so that the middle doesn't sag, but also so your sentiment doesn't wobble. So that will just go on the top. And then we can use dimensionals on our lion. There we go. So he can go just kind of like that right over. Okay, and then I have my 3 little stars. Haven't lost them, which is good. So I'll just put those on with glue dots. So I always just kind of take and put all the little pieces on while I have my glue dots handy. That way I don't lose them. Oopsie. Because these are little tiny fiddly stars. Okay, and then take your pick tool. You can actually tear your glue dots off at that point, and then take your pick tool to just pick them up. I think I actually used mini dimensionals on my original card, but I like the glue dots as well. There we go. So not popped up as much. Now I do need a piece of basic white for the inside of the card, which I forgot to cut. So this piece on the inside of the card is 3 1/4 by 5. So we're gonna do it, let's see, yeah, we'll do it 3 inches by 4 3/4. I think that's big enough. Yes, it is. There we go. And we're going to stamp this kind of shooting star like that in tuxedo black. Before I forget, I'm going to grab my Wink Stella so I don't forget to actually color. I'm going to color, in this case, the star in the dark lemon lolly. I'm not going to worry about blending too much, but just added a little bit of dark and then go over it with a light. It's a pretty small image. There we go. So just leave some room for writing a sentiment. And then this can go, oops, almost needs some more glue. Probably helps if I put my lid on it. I'm terrible for forgetting to put the lid on my glue. Hopefully that's not you. Okay, so then this just goes here on the inside of the card. Okay, now the last thing I do, and I always do this at the very last because the Wink of Stella takes a little bit of time to dry. So I wait until the end and then I color what I want to, where I want to add my Wink of Stella. Just because I don't know what the solvent is in it. And I find that it just can take a little bit of time to dry. And so I don't want it to kind of mess up my card if I'm working on it. So, all right, so there's the card. Pretty similar, other than I use glue dots for my stars instead of dimensionals. But, oh, I forgot to put, so on this one, and I will do that, I added just 3 of the lemon lolly solid gems, and I will do that for this card as well. You can put whatever embellishment on it that you want. All right, there we go. So I hope you enjoyed that card. If you have any questions, leave a comment on this video. You can find your way over to my blog from the link underneath this video, and you'll have all of the written instructions, the measurements, and the supply list for this card. And then to go along with the video, hopefully it'll make it fairly easy to recreate this card if that's what you want to do. If you find your way over to my blog, you can also subscribe to my newsletter, and then also subscribe if you haven't subscribed to YouTube. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get notified when I go live or when I post a video. All right, everybody, thanks so much for joining me. Hope you have a great day. Happy stamping. Bye.